Hi, people, your boy, man, Mike, coming at you guys with another live video, man. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties, all right? Look, man, just that's one thing about being on YouTube and trying to do live, okay, videos, man. Something, pretty much everything seems to go wrong, all right? But this, and this is how I'm going to start out, man. All right. This is the draft scenarios. All right, the draft is tonight, 7:30. Um, look, let's just be real, man. The Atlanta Falcons, we have no clue what the Atlanta Falcons are going to do at this point, man. And look, there was a handful of guys that want offensive tackles. They want Jonah Williams. Guys want Jonah Williams. A lot of people want a ton of guys. Cody Ford. Zach Allen's a guy that comes to mind. Dexter Lawrence, Rasheed Hageman. Guys want Quentin Williams. I've seen plenty of people that said they want Quentin Williams. Greedy Williams is a guy that a lot of Atlanta Falcons want. Look, man, Ed freaking Oliver. Everybody wants a piece of Ed Oliver. I have no idea why. But, all right, it is what it is. All right, Atlanta Falcons fans, I understand why, you would like a Ed Oliver. But for the Atlanta Falcons, I have no freaking idea why Atlanta Falcons fans would want an Ed Oliver. But, all right, I'm going to say this. These are scenarios that I feel as though that will go down, well, should watch for. I'm not going to say what will go down for the Atlanta Falcons because at this point, man, I have no idea what the Atlanta Falcons are going to do. So I'm going to give you guys scenarios that will happen. They may happen for the Atlanta Falcons. This draft tonight. So I'm going to go with Zach Allen. All right, the first one for me is just Zach Allen. Zach Allen is exactly what the Atlanta Falcons need. He's a guy that provides toughness in the run game, guy that gets pressures. He's not your flashy guy. All right, he's not going to kind of give you guys, that shock and awe factor. This is not what Zach Allen is. He's an old school, dirty defensive line who can play multiple positions. He can play in, he can play outside, he can play. Look, this guy's just all away. Look, he's all put together. All right, this guy can do it all. All right, he can get after the quarterback, he can stuff the run, he can react fast. One of his best traits is just react. Awareness, sniffing out screens, looking at the offensive lineman and kind of figuring out what exactly he's going to do before it even happens. This is the kind of guy that Zach Allen is. So for the Atlanta Falcons, Zach Allen, with the possible, him being, at 14, maybe that's something the Falcon may not want to do, but find a trade partner like Seattle or whatnot. So you get him around 20, 21. Oh, that's something. And pick up an extra pick. That's something that the Falcons could quite possibly take, or just take him at 14. Another guy is Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins is probably the number one guy. Christian Wilkins is probably the number one guy for the Atlanta Falcons. And I know a lot of Falcons fans are like, man, what about Ed Oliver, man? What about Ed Oliver? Ed Oliver is amazing. He's an amazing athlete. All right? Yeah, he is an amazing athlete. But at this point, the Falcons don't need amazing athletes. They have plenty of athletes on this team. Vic, Tack, Gray, Dion, Keanu, Trufant, all these, Isaiah Oliver. Look, man, all these guys are already amazing athletes. So when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, man, what they need, okay? Not what they need. They need guys who can do their job, who can do the small things, all right? They need guys like Zach Allen who can do the small things, sniff out plays. We don't have a ton of guys on this defense, all right? And this may sound kind of rough and tough, but Falcons don't have a ton of guys that, rely solely on their IQ. Guys who can do the small things. One underestimated guy on this Atlanta Falcons team, and he kind of, he was a little bit up in age, but he was a valuable piece for the Atlanta Falcons. That's Brooks Reed. Brooks Reed was a guy who can play the run well, had a pretty good spin move, and he relied just on his awareness. All right, his physical ability to snuff out plays, to set the edge. Those are the things that don't get picked up. Those are the things that don't get picked up. A lot of fans don't pay attention to that. Coaches pay attention to it. They love players who can just do the little things. This is why Bill Belichick has won so many championships, because he has guys who can do the small things. Tom Brady is not he's not really flashy. Tom Brady throw a 5-10 yard out all freaking day. There's nothing flashy about what the Patriots do. They just kick freaking butt. All right, that's what they do. They wear you down, and that's what the Atlanta Falcons have to do if they want to continue to improve. To help get Vic Beasley, to free him up, free Tack up, free Grady up. They need guys like a Zach Allen who can do the small things. And the next guy, like I said, Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins is probably the number one guy for the Atlanta Falcons. Christian Wilkins is probably the number one guy on the Falcons list. This guy is a leader. He just gets it done. He motivates players around him. And this is the aspect of the Atlanta Falcons that they were lacking last year. With the injuries of Keanu, Dion, and Ricardo Allen. They need leadership. I like Devondre Campbell, but he's not a leader. All right? He's not a leader. Devondre Campbell is not a leader. We need guys who are leaders up front. And Grady Jarrett is a guy that is absolutely amazing. But he was kind of reluctant to be the leader on the defensive lineman. He really had to grow into a leader this past season. The Falcons needed him to be a leader because they didn't have leaders due to the injuries. All right? And Grady Jarrett had to be that guy now. But Christian Wilkins is naturally a leader. And that's what the Atlanta Falcons need up front. They need guys who can be leaders. Christian Wilkins can play he can play 5-tech, 4-eye. He can play the 3-tech, 1-0. Look, this guy can play it all. Christian Wilkins can do it all. When you look at a guy that what the Falcons need is guys that can play defensive tackle, all right, penetrate, stuff the run, play the run well, be a strong side defensive end, and the base formation. This is what Christian Wilkins can provide. And Christian Wilkins is probably the first guy on the Atlanta Falcons list. All right. And the second for me, like I said, my pick is Zach Allen. I think Zach Allen provides that toughness and awareness that the Atlanta Falcons, he plays with intelligence. And this is what the Falcons need. The Falcons need. The third guy is Dexter Lawrence. I don't know if the Falcons would draft him at 14, but a possible trade up into the first round, or they trade down from 14. Dexter Lawrence is a guy that the Falcons could possibly lead. This is a guy, again, he can play strong side defensive end. He's a 340-pound, 330, 340-pound defensive tackle who can play all over the line. A lot like Christian Wilkins. Falcons, Dan Quinn, he wants guys who can do a multitude of things. And this is what Dexter Lawrence can provide for the Atlanta Falcons. They need a tough physical presence in the middle. All right, the Falcons re-signed Rashid Hageman. Rashid Hageman is a guy that can play all over the line. Dan Quinn did that in 2016. It's one of the aspects that helped Vic Beasley and Grady Jarrett to get, to play well in the playoffs. It helped Vic Beasley get his first and only NFL sack record. All right? He was the NFL sack leader. All right, the Falcons had a multitude of guys who could just do a number of things, and that's what Rashid Hageman can be for the Atlanta Falcons. Don't know if he will make the team, but a guy like Dexter Lawrence is someone that we should be looking for, in the draft, a possible draft for the Atlanta Falcons. Next is Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat is another guy. All right. Vic Beasley is he's on his last year of his contract. All right. That exercise his 5th-year option, and he is a free agent, a potential free agent at the end of this season. And Montez Sweat is a guy that could quite possibly be drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. Now, there's some health scares as far as his heart is concerned, and teams kind of take him off the draft board because of that. And the Atlanta Falcons could possibly look past that and say, you know what? I believe in Montez Sweat. I don't know if we can come to agreement with Vic Beasley after past this year. And that's another way that the Atlanta Falcons go. Montez Sweat is another guy who can play the strong side defensive end. All right, he can play both sides. The Falcons love to rotate Tack and Vic. And Montez Sweat is a guy that you can rotate. So look out for a guy like Montez Sweat. Cody Ford. A lot of people say Cody Ford is a right tackle. A lot of Atlanta Falcons want to draft Cody Ford. I'm not one that really wants to draft the Cody Ford at right tackle. Thomas Dimitroff is a guy. The Atlanta Falcons want guys that can contribute immediately right now, not project players. All right? Typically in the NFL, tackles do not. All right? Typically in the NFL, tackles do not translate immediately. It takes them a while to get acclimated to the NFL because the speed of the game just kills a ton of defensive players, especially defensive linemen. All right, defensive linemen, offensive linemen. Look, those guys struggle in the first couple of years, especially tackles. Tackles take a while to get acclimated in the NFL. All right, so I'm not sure if the Atlanta Falcons will draft a Cody Ford with the 14th pick. Maybe this is something that they would look at to kind of draft, trade back up in the draft. Somewhere in, the 25, the 32 range, they could possibly trade back into the first round and snab a guy like Cody Ford. But, I had a conversation with a couple of people. I don't think Cody Ford is a tackle. I think he's more of a guard. He is a bullying type of right tackle. He has to be in a system where he can be protected, especially against teams in the NFL. Because NFL teams, even NFL defenses, love to line their best pass rusher on the right side of the offensive line. And Cody Ford is a rookie. And I'm not sure if I want to put a rookie tackle on a J.J. Watt. I'm not sure if I want to put a rookie tackle on a DeMarcus Lawrence. Look, man, a lot of guys may not like Tyson Barlow, but at this point, he is experienced. I do not. All right, it took Jake Matthews 3 years to finally get in the groove, all right, to find his niche as an offensive tackle. 3 years to finally come into his own. And you think you're going to draft Cody Ford and he's going to be an immediate impact? Look, that's highly unlikely. That's highly unlikely for any tackle to come in and be a starter right away and play well. A lot of people say we need offensive tackles to, to help protect Matt Ryan. One of the best ways to protect Matt Ryan is to run the ball. You need to get back to running the ball. All right? And throwing a right tackle like Cody Ford, who I think will be a tremendous prospect in the future, and I think he translates well as a guard. I'm not saying that he can't play tackle, but I think he'll be a better guard than a tackle. And look, he's a bullying, a physical type of tackle. And if you have Cody Ford, who is more of a bully, and he's attacking the offensive lineman, look, Cody Ford could quite possibly be taken advantage of with its aggressiveness. You can't be aggressive. You have to be smart when it comes to these defensive linemen. They have so many tricks, man. A guy like DeMarcus Lawrence, even Vic Beasley with his extraordinary speed. Look, he can take advantage of rookie tackles. I mean, he did it to Tyson Brallo, man. All right, so if you want guys that are much better than a Vic Beasley as a pass rusher, look, I'm not sure if I want to throw Cody Ford out there. And the last one for me, well, I have two more. Um, a guy that I really really love as a Falcon prospect. All right, I really love this guy as a prospect, man. And he's a corner, and the corner is Rock Yasin. Yes, I didn't say Greedy Williams. I didn't say DeAndre Baker, but Rock Yasin. Keep an eye out on Rock Yasin. This guy is absolutely okay. Rock Yasin. He has long arms, and we know that Dan Quinn loves those guys with long arms. And Rocky Sin has a nose for the ball. All right, we saw what Demonte Casey can provide to this team. All right, with his skills, and Rocky Sin is a ball hawk, bro. Desmond Trufant, he's a technical corner. Doesn't have great hands and pull. Let's just be frank, man. The boy has terrible hands. Trufant has terrible hands, but he's a damn good corner. But you bring in a guy Desmond Trufant, who's technically sound, Isaiah Oliver, who seems to me will be a very good corner in the future. Um, Drafting a guy like Rocky saying who you can just uh, throw in to be the third, fourth corner and kind of bring him along slowly. Look, man, the Falcons can do a lot of things. Okay, they can do a lot of things if with a guy like Rocky saying. So, don't be surprised if the Falcons trade back into the first round, or back into use their second round pick to kind of trade back up, or they use the second round to draft a guy like Rocky Sand if he falls. But keep an eye on Rocky Sand. But let me know what you guys think about this, man. Who do you expect the Atlanta Falcons? Who do you want the Atlanta Falcons to draft? Um, and I kind of get you guys questions from if you guys have questions or anything, man. What if Quinnen Williams falls? I don't see the Atlanta Falcons um, trading up for a guy like Quincy Williams. I just don't see him. If Quincy Williams, for whatever reason, is somewhere around 10, this is something that the Falcons may look at. But trading up at this point, when the Falcons they need depth, I don't see the Falcons trading up. Again, I don't see them trading up. Not saying that it won't happen. If the Falcons trade up for me, and I will say this is another scenario for you guys. But if the Falcons trade up, I think it'll be safe to say that a guy like Vic Beasley, uh, and I know a lot of people are like, what about Grady Jarrett? Why don't we just trade Grady Jarrett and draft Quentin Williams and Ed Oliver? Look, man, Falcons, that'd be incredibly stupid. All right, that'd be incredibly stupid to try to trade away Grady Jarrett. Even though his contract he's gonna demand a lot of money, but Grady Jarrett is a vital part of this Falcons team. He does a lot of things for this Atlanta Falcons team. So Grady Jarrett won't be traded. But if the Falcons trade up and get a guy like Quentin Williams, or shoot, for whatever reason, if guys are like, if the Falcons are really high on Montez Sweat and he think he can be the guy for the future, and they're not really concerned about his health, um, if the Falcons trade up for a guy like Montez Sweat, for me, that'll pretty much signify the end of Vic Beasley. And I made a couple of videos back then. Recently, there's people been calling me a hypocrite, saying that I'm a hypocrite because I feel as though that Vic Beasley is not one of the reasons why the Atlanta Falcons struggle. All right, Vic Beasley gets all the shaft. And he's the scapegoat for Atlanta Falcons fans. We look at this defense and its entirety. Even though we can't stop the run, somehow we seem to find fault with Vic Beasley. So I'd say if the Falcons trade up, if they trade up, we can pretty much signify the end of Vic Beasley because I don't think you could trade up and keep a guy like Vic Beasley. All right, just I can't see that happening, especially for a guy like Quentin Williams or Ed Oliver. I don't see that happening. Um, Ed Oliver, Justin Jennings. Yeah, I don't see Ed Oliver being Atlanta Falcons. Like I said, I'm not saying he's not a good prospect, but at this point, I don't think the Atlanta Falcons would benefit for a guy like Ed Oliver. Right now, Tyler Davidson, Rasheed Hateman, those guys can pretty much play the point one. They can play one tech zero. Pretty much one tech and zero is nose tackle and whatnot. Just different size and whatnot. But um, those guys can play the run, but I don't think Ed Oliver will get past 9 past Buffalo. There's no way Ed Oliver is getting past Buffalo. Um, another guy that you could quite another team that could quite possibly be in play for Christian Wilkins is Miami. So you got to keep an eye on what Miami does. If they take a guy like Christian Wilkins, but for as far as Ed Oliver is concerned, I don't think the Atlanta Falcons would draft an Ed Oliver, and quite frankly, I don't think he'll be available for the Atlanta Falcons. But John Crowder, yeah, he said it doesn't matter as long as we don't, as long as we draft the offensive lineman and defensive lineman. Look, man, that's pretty much it. But yes, man, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. This is my draft predictions, and like I said before, I'm gonna kind of go over it just a little bit more. Um, this is how I see things. This is the way I see things happening. The Falcons, Zach Allen. It's either Zach Allen, Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence, Montez Sweat, and Rocky Sin. Those are the guys that I want you guys to keep a close eye on. The Falcons could very well pull out a shocking trade, but the trade will be, in my opinion, for those guys. Any of these guys, Zach Allen, Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence, Montez Sweat, maybe a Cody Ford, and Rocky Sin. But let me know what you guys think about this, man. Your boy, man, Mike is out, man, and I'll try my best. Actually, have a show tonight, a draft show, and I'll give you details on that. It will be in the community tab, so look out for that, man. But, man, I hope everybody has a great draft day, man. Man, let's get this started, man. The season is right around the corner. I'm so goddamn excited for this draft, man. But your boy, Mad Mike is on, man. Peace.